I could not believe what I was seeing. And so I had to look at the fine print. And I'm looking for the fine print. And there ain't much of it, but I'm reading it. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? And I went back and I read it a second time and then a third, scratching my head going, this has got to be too good to be true, but there's an 800 number, so I got to call. And I call. And operator picks up on the other side and walks me through the entire thing. And I'm like, so you're telling me you're offering 70% off a full week at an all-inclusive resort, 14 swimming pools, 17 restaurants, 70% off if I bring a family. And they're like, yeah. And it says, if I do this in the next 2 weeks, if I commit to this, I can get a second week free anytime in the calendar year. Free. At said all-inclusive resort. He's like, yeah, that's what we're doing. The Yucatan Peninsula is in dire straits right now. Our tourism is done. We just opened this up. I'm like, no, I got a question. Can I take that free week and put it back to back with my first week? In other words, can I bring my family for 14 days at an all-inclusive resort with 14 pools and 17 restaurants and only pay 30% of 1 week? And he goes, we've gotten very few calls on this today. That email just went out. I'm gonna have to put you on hold and check. And I go, I bet you will. And I listen to my little Impanema music and he comes back on. Yes, sir, you can do that. I can do that, yeah. He goes, however, we won't have all 17 restaurants open. We will only have 12 open. Oh. And it says the resort will be held at 30% occupancy. He goes, that's correct, but we think it's gonna be probably even less than that. How much do you need down today? He goes, well, if I do the math right, it's $400. I go, here's the credit card. I don't know if Southwest is flying yet, but I'm putting my money down. And as soon as I hung up, I called Southwest. And they said, yeah, we do have routes. It's for essential travel only. Have I told you this is the second week of June, 2020, where you can't drive on the road in California unless you're essential. Nothing is open in the United States the second week of June in 2020. But the Yucatan Peninsula, Cancun area is under such dire stress because for almost 2 full months, they've had no one coming and going. Their entire economy has shut down. So the tourists, the government in the Yucatan Peninsula has said, those resorts that can't open, we need to get some people working. We will offer you money to offer people anything to get here. And Southwest goes, we are flying, it's essential only. You have to have a seat in between you and every row in front of you or behind you has to be empty. So we're only sitting people in every other row unless you're family. Family can sit together, but the rows in front of you and behind you have to be open. And I said, exactly what type of documentation do you need to prove that you're essential? And they said, well, we haven't quite figured that out yet. We're just telling people it's only essential travel, so. And I said, I'm essential. And I buy tickets for me and my 3 kids, not for my wife. She's my frequent flyer partner, so I know I can get her on that ticket, especially because the plane's empty. And I purchased that, and then I called the guy back, and I go, put the rest of the money down. When do you open your doors? He goes, we open next Monday. And I said, we're coming in Wednesday. And then it hit me. You did all of that without talking to your wife. Now you gotta understand something about Amy, and I don't do that. I don't do that. Like I go and I buy batteries for the flashlights and I call her, babe, I'm buying 2 packs of AA. Is that okay? Okay, I'm trying. Everything runs through Amy. Not because she demands it, I just think it's smart. And I pack up to go home. Now I don't have to tell anyone in the office I'm going home because there's no one in the office. And I'm driving home going, this is bizarre. My wife's not gonna understand this. What am I gonna tell her? And the only answer I can have is, babe, you know how I'm not fond of churches and I'm not fond of church leaders? And she's like, yeah, you've been that way your whole life. And I go, but here's the problem. I don't like my church anymore. And I don't like North Coasters. And I don't know what to do because I don't have much education. I'm not a smart guy. I'm not very intelligent at all. I'm just a storyteller. I'm a one-trick pony. I'm a storyteller. I'm pretty good to have in a locker room with the team, and I'm a storyteller. That's all I bring to an organization. So right now, if I lose a job in ministry, I'm I'm Saturday afternoons at a public library reading stories, and they're closed. But I'm done. Man, I am done. And it only took me 2 months to get there. I've been 22 years. I was hired as a senior pastor and teaching pastor here at North Coast. But I made more mistakes in about a 3-month period than I have made in the 20 years previous. I had hurt more people in 3 months than I had hurt in my entire leadership career. I tried the best of handling situations that they didn't teach us in any schooling I ever had. And at North Coast, we've been incredibly favored and blessed. We'd sit around tables and go, man, there's a bunch of really good decisions. Let's try to find the great one. And because of circumstances that happened here at North Coast and a leadership issue that we had with an individual that had to step out of ministry, and because of stuff that happened, the COVID that followed, and because of George Floyd that followed, and because of I'm sitting around a table and there's a bunch of really bad decisions and we're trying to pick one that's not the worst. And I know you didn't want to come to a conference to hear about events that happened, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, but I tell you, there's a conversation I had there that I have used every few months in the last couple of years to remind myself why I'm not just reading stories at a public library. And I had to pull it out of my pocket again this fall when I walked into church and there was a surprise funeral. I don't know if that's weird, a surprise funeral. We probably shouldn't have surprise funerals. But I had to get up on a weekend and I didn't realize that maybe 60% of my church thought they were coming to a memorial service for a guy I'd never heard of until that week. And I didn't know Charlie Kirk. I didn't know who he was. And I'm off social media. I gave that up 7 years ago. I honestly didn't know who the guy was. And I didn't realize that I was walking into a surprise funeral. And when you walk into a surprise funeral and you don't know the individual, but people think this is supposed to be a national honor monument, you are, no matter what you do, you're wrong. And man, did I realize I never, ever want to do a surprise memorial service again. I blew that in every which way I could. And I immediately had to stop and go, what did you learn in June of 2020? So I thought that's what I'm telling my wife. So I got home and Amy's like, how was your day? And I'm like, it was good. I go, babe, I need to talk to you. And she's like, okay. I go, we need to sit down. And that's never come out. And she's like, Chris, you're scaring me. And I'm scaring me a little bit too. And she got really, really quiet. Her husband, for the 30 years we've been married, and the 2 years before that, it's been like this. I just don't have highs. I don't have lows. I've just been this my entire life. And she's like, you're scared? We need to sit down. And I said, babe, I sat down and there was an advertisement in the Yucatan Peninsula about an all-inclusive resort, and they got 14 pools and 17 restaurants, but it's not going to be 17 restaurants, only 12, but it's 30% occupancy, and they don't even think they're having 30% occupancy, but it's 70% off of 1 week, but you get the second week, and the second week can be added on. And so I got 14 days for our family, and I put money down because I called Southwest, and they are flying, and I got me and my kids' seats, and you're my frequent flyer, and you're my companion pass, and so I can add you to it, but we leave next Tuesday. And I did that entire thing just like this, staring at the table. I never looked at her. And she said, you're going to go to Mexico without me? I go, no, babe, you missed that entire story. I would really love for you to go with us, but I understand if you can't because we see this thing completely differently. You see, Amy quarantines Amazon boxes in the garage. Amy has set up a curtain. Anything delivered to the house goes in the garage behind a curtain, and it's all sprayed down with Lysol. And after 3 days, the boxes can come into the house. That's how, the microcosm, that's how she saw COVID. I'm out hugging and licking strangers. I don't care. I just don't care. I don't care. That's why I got COVID 4 times. And I'm like, oh, I don't care. And they're like, you get it once, you won't get it again. And I'm like, probably won't get it a 5th time. I don't know. And she goes, Chris, you paid money. And I go, we got everything. I haven't talked to the kids yet, but I'm pretty sure they'll go with me. And she said, I can't believe you're doing this. And I said, I can't believe I'm in a place I'm doing this either, babe. And she's all, why? And I told her, you know, I don't like churches and I don't like a lot of church leaders and I don't even like being a church leader, but I don't like North Coasters. And I don't know what to do at a church if I don't like the people at the church. I've never been a guy that's depressed. I've never been a guy that had anxiety. I've always been the funnest guy in the room, even if I'm the only guy in the room, especially if I'm the only guy in the room. I've always really, really liked myself, and I realized during that time, I don't know what it's like to be disliked. I've been a really popular kid in school, and a really popular kid in college, and really popular as a young adult, especially before I had all the Jesus stuff to live up to. And I've never been disliked, and I've never been hated. And I'm tired of pulling up at a stoplight, and some guy tells me to roll down the window, and I'm like, hey, how's it going? He's all, not good. You took church away. You completely abolished our First Amendment rights because you're bowing the knee to Newsom. And now my kids don't know God, but it's good to see you out and about. And I'm like, hey, by the way, what was your name? Oh. I went around to 3 different life groups of police officers who were leaving the church because I realized most of our church doesn't understand what it's like to have a conversation with an individual who's black because of our 9 campuses. All of our cities in North County and Riverside County have less than 3% black as a part of their geographical makeup. And so we did a thing where I interviewed a bunch of my favorite black couples at North Coast, and it was pretty spicy about how they grew up, and some of them old timers and what happened. And law enforcement didn't give a good look. But the second video, I'm interviewing just law enforcement. We're going to talk to them about what it's like to be law enforcement. Because remember what was happening in the streets? Remember what was going on in the nation at that time? And I thought, man, if we hear from great people that are our people, not the news, not media, and if we hear from great men and women in law enforcement that are our people. And then the third, we'll take the best voices from both groups and we'll bring them back in together, and we're going to have an amazing conversation. And we are going to host a conversation for our church that our church can't have because we don't know these individuals. And it was brilliant. It was brilliant. I should have prayed about it, but it was brilliant. And we did the very first interview, and it was great, and it was phenomenal. So many people watched, but they're like, ooh, law enforcement. I go, don't worry, man, next Friday, we're filming it this week. And at that time, when everything blew up on the streets, every single man and woman in law enforcement contacted me and said, there's no way we're going on film now. Have you seen what's happening in the streets? Our department wouldn't let us speak. I'm like, you guys got to speak. This first one's out there, and you guys don't look good. Oh, I know, we watched it. I go, but see, you guys are having this, and we're having this together. And they're like, we're not. I had 2 yahoos that wanted to be on video, and the other 2 you don't want on video. And so I ended up taking the first one down. And so we didn't have a rebuttal to why law enforcement is bad nowadays. And then everyone that was a person of ethnicity at North Coast said, oh, now you're ashamed of us and you took our video down because we can't even speak. And I go, yeah, I just, Jesus has a cross, and then you are the groups on both sides on the other crosses. I just crucified you. Frickin' A. That wasn't my heart and that wasn't my intent. I'm done. And people think I have some tunnel system at North Coast that goes to Newsom's house, and Fauci lives down there because he's my uncle. And somehow we do this pact every first Thursday where we drink the blood of Aborigines because I'm in on some deep state thing. They're saying conspiracies I can't even understand about myself. I know some of you are like, I actually believe that. Okay. And my wife says, well, I can't let you take the kids alone. What if they get sick? And I go, babe, they're going to get sick. That was not the right answer. And she called up 3 doctors that we know, and she backed an entire suitcase of nothing but medicine. I said, they're not allowing this amount of drugs to go across the border. And it made it through. And we got to a resort where they temperature checked you, and they had you walk, and you couldn't even take your shoe. You had to take your shoes off. Everything was sprayed on. Before we got to the resort, and we got to this paradise. They said we have 1,500 rooms, 70 are taken. We got to the most amazing pool complex on day 1. Not a person in sight. It was 2 hours later, a family came and sat at the other side, probably 200 yards away. Too far to even wave. And my kids were playing in the pool. Dad, you going to play? And I'm like, no, I'm sitting this one out. And for the first day and the second day, I just sat it out. And I sat there, and I didn't have the heart to tell my kids, you love the church. You've all been born in this church 22 years ago. You all grew up in this church. And I think your dad's leaving it. And it's not because the church is bad. Your dad's bad. And I didn't know how to deal with bad. And on the third day, about 10:30 in the morning, the entire pool complex is empty. Some dude comes walking in from the left with his towel and the sunglasses and the dopiest hat I've ever seen. And he comes in and he looks around and he walks over and he puts his stuff on the chair next to me. And I'm trying to find something to get my mind occupied. And I look up and I look around. I go, are you serious? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1,700 open chairs. And he's all, is this taken? Now, this is a joke, right? Is this part of the comedy act that the resort's doing? Individual comedy per families? I'm sitting there with my umbrella drink. I did this before with a group of pastors. This is EFCA, I can tell you. I'm sitting there with my gin and tonic. Yes, at 10:30, but it's EFCA, so you can't judge, because if you do, you go join the Southern Baptists. I got my gin and tonic. I'm sitting there, and he says, is this seat taken? I don't say anything because I don't want to talk to anybody. I'm not even talking to my kids on day 3. And instead of talk to them, I lean forward and I look at every chair in the pool. And I go, it looks like they're all open. He goes, great. And he spreads out his blanket, his towel. I'm like, this is unstinking believable. I came down here to get away from every person. It don't matter who you're a perper. You're a piece of person, people. And this guy wants to strike a conversation. Hey, what's your name? And I'm all, Chris. I go, man, one word answers. We'll tell him. Not your dude. Good to meet you, Chris, man. You guys just get here? And I nod, not even answering that. He goes, I couldn't believe the deal they're running. I nod again. And I don't even look at him. I'm looking down. He goes, hey, my friends call me Ace. And I've got so many comebacks to that, and I don't even play one of them. I just nod. He goes, what are you doing here? And I go, this is my opportunity. I said, I'm just trying to get away from people and conversations. And he gets up from his chair and swings over and faces me and leans in. He goes, oh, man, me too. Me too. And I said, well, it doesn't seem to be working. I'm not a rude guy, but I'm going to play every card I have. He don't know what I do for a living, and I'm about to give it up anyway. I go, it doesn't seem to be working. He goes, man, I leave tomorrow. And he goes, I got down here the very first time they opened their doors. And he goes, yeah, I got to get away from people. He goes, I'm a pastor at a mega church. And I'm like, you son of a... And I look and I go, really? And he goes, yeah, I'm the worship pastor. And he goes, I got a one-way ticket because I didn't know if I was coming back. He goes, I've been down here. I should have brought my wife and kids. He goes, I told him I just need to leave, and my wife didn't want to go. And I'm thinking, this is a good conversation. My wife didn't want to go, but those are the only 3 kids in the pool are my 3 kids in the entire pool. But I don't want to get in the conversation. I go, really? He goes, man, I can't wait to fly home tomorrow to see them. And he goes, and I can't wait to lead worship again. And now he's got my attention. And I go, really? He goes, yeah. He goes, you down here to get away? And I said, yeah. He goes, what do you do? Consulting. I said, I'm actually a pastor at a church too. I said, why are you happy to get home? And he goes, can I share something with you? I go, Ace, you got the floor. It's all written down. I wanted to make sure you got it. I wanted to make sure I never forgot it. If you got the letter, I want you to open it. Psalm 73. Psalm 73. It's a story from 6 years ago that has kept me for the last 6 years of not throwing in the towel. I've never had to learn that in my adult life. I've never struggled with thoughts of, I think I'm done, man. Forget this. I'm still really looking forward to an earlier retirement than most if I can financially find a way to pull it off. But I'm not quitting. I'm not quitting. And I want to lead you through it because when Tim talked about the kinetic, and I don't understand the word, he goes, man, how to lead through some struggling times and times of adversity. I go, I got that. I can tell you everything I did wrong, and I can tell you what Ace taught me. And in Psalm 73, friends call him Ace. He's known as Asaph. Asaph has written 12 of these Psalms. This one, he just spoke to me that day. He's got 11 others. He's the chief worship pastor for Israel. So when he said, I'm a pastor of a mega church, I'm like, oh, you are the pastor of the mega giga church. He's the worship pastor for the nation of Israel. And this is what he told me that day. He said, surely God is good to Israel, to those who are pure in heart. And I didn't want to hear that. Hey, you're down here. You're trying to think, do I go into ministry? Do I keep this going? You're sitting here today, and maybe you've come thinking, man, this is my last-ditch effort. Am I really going to go back? Do I want to keep doing this? I just need someone to whisper some encouragement on how to hold on and how to survive these turbulent times. And usually people start like this, well, you know God is good, and you know God is good to those who are faithful to him. Yeah. I've taught it my whole life. It's how you're supposed to start a song. When Ace leaned in, it was his next sentence that got me. But as for me, my feet had almost slipped. I nearly lost my foothold. I envied the arrogant when I saw the prosperity of the wicked. As I'm leaning in, Ace said, but Chris, I was done. I was done. The last time I led worship, I didn't even stay for the message. I went out to my car and I sat in the parking lot. I kept a close look at the watch because I knew I had to come back and do a closing song, but I didn't even want to sit in church anymore. I started looking at people and culture and the world and what's going on and what's the use. I almost lost it all. And I'm like, how'd you get there? Like, I knew how I got there. How'd you get there? And Ace goes, thanks for asking. Just listen. I envied the arrogant when I saw the prosperity of the wicked. Verse 4, they have no struggles. Their bodies are healthy and strong. They are free from the burdens common to man. They are not plagued by human ills. Therefore, pride is in their necklace. They clothe themselves with violence. From their callous hearts comes iniquity. The evil conceits of their hearts, of their minds, knows no limits. They scoff and they speak with malice. In their arrogance, they threaten oppression. Their mouths lay claim to heaven. Their tongues take possession of the earth. Therefore, their people turn to them and drink up their waters in abundance. And they say, how can God know? Does the Most High have such knowledge? This is what the wicked are like. They're always carefree and they increase in wealth. And Ace said, Chris, here's how I got there. I started listening to all the voices that were coming into my inbox and my text and the communication cards. I started listening to everyone. And as a pastor, I'm thinking, what are you listening to? What are you reading? And he goes, and they're soaking it up in abundance. And their tongues are laying claim to all kinds of trash and garbage. And people are flocking to it. And everyone's believing it. And they're getting more prosperous and more wealthy. And this thing is growing. And I used to think I could make an impact on culture. And I can't make an impact on culture. What I found out that culture is killing my calling. And I saw an advertisement for Cancun, 70% off a week, and you get a second week, and I jumped on it. It was the first time I sat up in my chair, and I swung around, I looked at Ace, and I go, me too. He's like, I knew you'd open up. I go, I'm in the same boat, man. You know why I'm here? Because let me tell you about this guy at the stoplight, and let me tell you this family, and let me tell you this guy that came in, and let me tell you about this card I got, and let me tell you about these emails I got. And I get this whole slew of things right now I can't even return because I get 3 or 4 emails deep and I'm just done. And I want to tell people what I really think and what they're listening to and how stupid and ignorant they are. And I can't do that because they're not going to like their pastor. But at the end of their email, they say they're leaving our church anyway to find someone that believes in God and will teach the Bible and not be afraid of the government. And I'm all, your marriage 3 times have sat in my living room, and my wife and I have held hands and tried to hold you together. Your 16-year-old kid got kicked out of one of our summer camps for bringing weed to it and trying to share it with others. And I sat with you and said, no, we're not kicking you out of church. Kids do this stuff, but here's what we need to do and what we need to go. Your daughter's in one of my daughter's life group, and they're telling me about what type of home you guys live in and how jacked up she is because of your parenting. And you're telling me you're leaving the church because you want to follow someone that believes in the Bible? Send. Next email. But you can't do that. I'm so sorry you feel that way. Here's what my heart was trying to do, and here's what I'm trying to do. And for 50 years, North Coast has made a reputation in this community about being about community. And we can throw it away right now by saying, forget the community, we're meeting anyway. And we think Christians can go through a little bit of frustration and a little bit of sacrifice because this isn't against the church. If everyone else is allowed to meet except the church, I promise you this West Texas boy is going to stand on behalf of the things of Christ. But no one can have basketball games right now. There's no Little League right now. You can't go to the theater right now. We're being held under the same covering. I don't see this against Christians, but no one hears that. No one hears that. And I'm done. And Ace goes, can you count the pronouns? And I go, what? He goes, can you just count the pronouns? Now, you ask a guy like me, there's 2 things involved, math and English. And I'm like, if we're counting by ones, I'm doing that. Pronouns. Nouns that are pros. The things that I can do pronouns. Can I read you the exact same verses I just read you? You have to say yes because I'm doing it. I'm just going to read you the pronouns. They, their, they, their, they, their, they, them, they, them. I'll do the math part for you. 17 times in 9 verses. 17 times in 9 verses. If you want to take notes on anything and write it down, I'll give you this. See, focusing on others will depress us. 17 times. Chris, what are you focused on? They, them, they, them, there, they, them, there. What they're listening to, what they're saying, what their tongues lay hold to, what the world, what our culture is doing, what our culture is putting out there, what social media is spreading, what things are going, they, there, them, they, there. And where'd you get yourself to? Well, I got myself to right here. I got myself to right stinking here. And you know what's weird about this? I'm not a guy that's ever done depression before, so I don't know how to handle that. We've gone through all kinds of difficult stuff, but hey, we're doing the best we can. I'm a pretty confident guy, but it's never been people very much disliking me. I don't have a default for that. And it only took 2 months of focusing on they, them, there, 17 times, and I got there. Well, he knew what he was doing. He goes, so Chris, what was your thought process? Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? Why am I pouring into so many families where at the drop of the hat, they're going to turn around? Why did I think there was any brand loyalty in the church? Why did I think people would be more loyal to the church that they've raised their kids in and give me some grace for 1 or 2 or 3 or 7 wrong decisions and they know I'm doing my best? And there's no grace here. Why do I think people are going to hold to their social media and their politics far, far with a greater grip than they are going to do their church? And I thought it should be differently. Why am I doing this then? What am I teaching? My gosh, what type of leader am I if this is the type of congregation that I'm like? He goes, Chris, I got there about 5 weeks ago. He goes, let me share with you where I was. Verse 13. Surely in vain I have kept my heart pure. In vain I have washed my hands in innocence. All day long I have been plagued. I have been punished every morning. And if I had said, oh, I will speak thus, in other words, if I would have said what I truly wanted to say, or if I would have given in, I would have betrayed your children. And when I tried to understand all of this, it was oppressive to me. He goes, Chris, culture is going to kill your calling. But let me tell you what happened. You immediately went to an internal conflict, didn't you? And conflict is going to rob you of your calling, boy. I go, man, that's exactly where I'm at. Why am I doing this? Why am I going? I told my wife, I don't even like our church. I've always liked our church. It was just other churches I didn't like. I don't like ours. And then I don't like the leader of the church. And when I look in the mirror, I see him. And I'm like, I don't know how to get rid of that dude. He goes, can you count the pronouns? I go, oh, this again. Can I read you just the pronouns from verse 13 on? I, my, I, me. 11 times in 4 verses. 11 times in 4 verses. Well, why am I even doing this? What's the weirdest? What does my work count for? Why have I been here for 22 years teaching at North Coast? And this is going to be the result after all that? If I was a new pastor and no one knew my heart, no one knew what I stood for, I could take that. But after 22 years of raising my kids here, doing my marriage in front of you, spilling my heart out every weekend, now I make one video and there was something behind that didn't work and now I'm the Antichrist? Are you kidding me? So why in the world am I showing up again? And why do I need to go on? I don't need this. There's friends that have offered me jobs somewhere. Surely I can take something else. I know I'm going to betray the children of God and maybe the calling I had in my life. But at this point, I think the calling has betrayed me, so I don't really care. Amen. 11 times in 4 verses. See, focusing on self will always disappoint us. Focusing on self will always disappoint us. It's coming. Oh, it's so good. And I went from being depressed to incredibly disappointed. Not in the church, not in people. We've all learned to live with people, disappointment people. I've been incredibly disappointed with myself. Incredibly disappointed with myself. I just picked my little umbrella drink up. I've learned that the people in the Yucatan Peninsula were so hungry to get back to work because they survive on so little, even working at a top resort, that 2 people are standing behind palm trees within 20 yards of us, just looking. And anytime you raise your hand, they go. And that little umbrella drink was taken away and another one was brought back. No judging. And I said, so you're telling me you're happy to get on a plane tomorrow and go back? He goes, Chris, this is the good part. Until verse 17. Nothing's going to change until verse 17. You're going to live in either depression or incredible disappointment in you and your job and what you're doing until I entered the sanctuary of God. Then I understood their final destiny. Now he's talking about the world, not necessarily church people, but sometimes it's hard to decipher. Surely you place them on slippery ground. You cast them down to ruin. How suddenly are they destroyed, completely swept away by terrors. As a dream when one awakes, so when you arise, O Lord, you will despise them as mere fantasies. Oh, it's you, O Lord, you, and the pronouns change. And I realize focusing on God will give us an eternal perspective. Focusing on God brings us back to an eternal perspective. Chris, what in the world are you doing here? And I forgot this. As much as we teach this, I forgot I'm not here to save culture. I'm not here to change culture. I'm not here to go against Newsom or Fauci. I'm not here, maybe you are, to get caught up in the government stuff and what's happening in California. I forgot the eternal perspective. And people, I got to tell you, this is huge because you've got to decide what type of church am I a part of, whether you're a lead pastor, children's pastor, men's pastor, discipleship pastor, youth pastor, women's pastor. And something happened in the climate of the American church about 7 years ago. And I think it happened without us knowing about it. You probably gradually went to one of two choices, but if you're still stuck in the middle, this is why you're battling things. You can have a church that's on a mission, or you can have a church that's missional. But you can't be both anymore. You can't be both anymore. What has happened with our cultural and political divide is so impassioned, so emboldened, so strong that you can't be both anymore. And there's churches all over California that are on a mission. I have all the grace in the world for churches that see themselves differently. I think we need both different types of churches. But a church on a mission says we are going to be about a political platform. We're going to change our city. We're going to change our government. We're going to change California. And we're going to change it by letting people know to be a Christian politically, this is where you need to line up. And it is a church that's on a mission to galvanize the people of God together, to organize them, to put wind in their sails and say, we are going to change things. And politically, nationally, this is what we're going to be a part of and what you must be a part of. And I applaud you. Man, I hope you do it. I hope you change California. I hope this is the most Christian state in America. I believe in God. He can. That's the only reason I can say, I hope he can. I hope he can. Then there's churches that go, you know what? We're going to be missional. And to be missional, we can't play that game. To be missional, we're going to be here to reach all people from all walks of life. Come as you are, for God's sake, don't stay that way. But the moment we start playing that game, we're no longer missional. Because before people come to hear about the gospel, we've already told them, this is the flag you got to salute to come to this church. This is what we're all going to look like in this church. And I think there's plenty of room, at least in my heart, to have both churches. But you've got to decide what you are. North Coast has always been founded, and it's our 50th year on being missional. So it was easier for me to slide into this. It was just harder than ever before to tell people this is who we've been. This isn't, none of our people here, and I hope this isn't being recorded, so I'll just say it. I believe with all my heart, there will not be a single Democrat in heaven. There won't be. And I believe with all my heart, there will not be a single Republican in heaven. And there will not be anybody from the Green Party in heaven. And there won't be anybody far left or far right politically in heaven. Heaven will be filled with those that came to know and accept and understand the grace and mercy of Jesus. And heaven is going to be eerily absent of those that didn't. And we tell people at our welcome desserts, day one, we are here to win people, not your political party or platform. And if that needs to be a part of it, we ain't going to be you. Now, if that's you, I give them, here's 4 churches within a 15-minute drive time that are amazing at this. Go, join them, be a part of it. That pastor's going to drip political statements in almost every message, and the place is going to erupt, and you're going to know what you're about and what you vote for. And I hope that mission changes things. We are going to be mission null. And with this statement right here, I had to realize, Chris, you are getting so caught into this right now. Until I entered the sanctuary of God, and then I looked up and realized, oh, this is my calling. This is culture and conflict. This is my calling. And see, when we get to verse 17, focusing on God's going to give us this eternal perspective. And then Ace goes this, Chris, he goes, when my heart was grieved and my spirit embittered, I was senseless and ignorant. I was a brute beast before you, oh Lord. See, the second thing, focusing on God's going to show us who we really are. He goes, Chris, I was down here day 5 at the resort, and I was embarrassed. I went from being depressed. I went from being disappointed. I was embarrassed when I saw myself in front of God whining about, well, these people are posting this, and these people didn't like me, and these people said that I love Governor Newsom, and these people said that Fauci is my uncle, and these people said, and this people left, and he's like, wah. He's all, I was a brute beast, ignorant. He goes, I was the ox in the field just eating all the grass, not realizing the farmers there like, chubby it up, buddy. That's just marble. You're going to slaughter. He goes, well, I was ignorant. He goes, on day 4, day 5, I laid down here at the resort, and I'm like, oh my gosh, God. I saw them. I saw myself. I never looked up and saw you. How foolish I've looked these last couple months. And he goes, Chris, in spite of that, verse 23, oh, it comes out. It's okay. You can see how much I've been in Psalm 73. It's got a lot of writing, and it doesn't tuck in nicely anymore. 23, yet, in spite of who I was, I am always with you. You hold me by my right hand. You still guide me with your counsel. And afterwards, God, when this is all said and done, you're taking me to glory. I get eternity. Whom do I have in heaven but you? And on earth, there's nothing I really desire besides you. And here I am letting you down. Here I am letting myself down. I'm letting my spouse and my kids down. My flesh and my heart may fail, but God is the strength of my heart and my portion forever. He says that focusing on God will show us who He really is. Who He really is. I forgot who I had in the midst of this. And I forgot, in spite of everything I was walking through, that you were still hearing what you did. How can I teach you and study you and lose track of you in the midst of turbulent times? Here's what I realized. I looked at Ace and I said, you know you're going to see what you look at. He goes, what? I go, you're going to see what you look at. He goes, okay. And I realized that was the first thing I said to Ace, and it was pretty stupid. This guy's writing Bible. That's about as deep as I get. You're going to see what you look at. You're going to focus on what you see. And if you want to look at 17 times what what all they have to say, what their thoughts of you and your ministry is, they, them, 17 times, that's what you're going to focus on. And I said, but Ace, listen to me. If you want to just look at yourself and what you're doing in ministry and why, if you want to focus on I, my, I, me, that's what you're going to focus on because that's what you're looking at. I go, but Ace, you just told me you focused on you, O Lord, you, O Lord, you, your, you. That's what you're going to focus on. And he said, hey, I gotta get back to the room and pack. I could tell the moment I sat down here, you didn't want to talk to me anyway. But I sat in this chair next to you for the last week. And God just put on my heart, sit next to the dude. Just sit next to the dude. So I just want to leave you with this kid. He's got a long white beard, so he calls me kid. Those who are far from you, O Lord, will perish. You destroy all who are unfaithful to you. Oh, but as for me, it is good to be near God. I have made the sovereign Lord my refuge. And I'm going to get on that plane tomorrow. I'm going to go back home. And Sunday I'm picking up a guitar. And I'm going to sing or tell of all of your deeds. I want to give my wife a hug and apologize to her. I want to tell my kids they got their dad back. And I'm going to stand in front of my church this weekend and realize it ain't about you. And it ain't about me. I came back to what I was called to do. And I think I've been just kind of autopilot winging it for the last 22 years at North Coast. And this season of disruption made me buckle up and take inventory. Why am I doing this? And that answer can come out a couple different ways. See, focusing on God is going to show us what we really have. What we really have. Let me give you just something to think about. Because I think this has changed in ministry. And I think it will continue to be the answer we got to come up with in ministry. Do I measure God's blessings by my comfort or my closeness to him? There's homework for you. And let me be honest. They put me as the first speaker. You're going to forget about me by lunch and breakout sessions, and that's fine. But if you write it down, maybe you'll have something. Do I measure God's blessings by my comfort or my closeness to him? I grew up in a day and age. This is my 37th year of being involved in ministry. And I will tell you, my first couple decades, I have grown up in an American ministry where it has been very comfortable to be in ministry. Very comfortable to be in ministry. And it ain't that way anymore. And it's why we have less and less and less people to choose from to hire to get in ministry. It's why our seminary enrollment is growing, not to be pastors, but in the field of apologetics mainly, or teaching. But no one wants your job. I feel like we've gone the way of law enforcement in a lot of ways. The men and women that protect us and put their life on the line daily, and the very fabric by which we have some sanity left in culture and safety. What boys and girls, when I grew up, and what you wanted to be, policemen, firemen were at the top of the list. Firemen still okay, policemen isn't. Pastors has gone that route as well. Because it's not comfortable anymore. And I don't want to be a doomsday guy. I don't think it's going to get more comfortable. And if we measure God's blessings by comfort, you ain't going to be blessed. But if we can measure God's blessings by proximity, our closeness to him, and this is what he got to. Those who are far from you will perish. You destroy all who are unfaithful to you. But as for me, it's just good to be near God. I have made the sovereign Lord my refuge. I'm not just near. He is my security. He is my wall. He is my defense. He is who I answer to and not anyone else. I can explain myself to everyone else. I don't have to answer to anyone else. And because of that, I will tell of all your deeds. It's my proximity. It's my security. And now I got a purpose back. Hey, I got to go pack. I know you're just starting this. How long are you here? And I got 2 weeks. He goes, can I just pray for you before I leave? And I'm like, you've taken most of my morning, go ahead. And he had a simple prayer. God, you have called these people to lead in a turbulent time. And this man is getting caught up in culture, and he's getting caught up in conflict, and he thinks that has something to do with his faithfulness and how he's doing. Chris has got the wrong scoreboard. May he find the right scoreboard. And may he realize that animosity from culture and conflict is part of the game he signed up for. That is what a pastor does. That's what light does in darkness. It's what salt does in a tasteless world. May you remind him of that. And God, whatever you need to do in this kid's heart, may he be excited to go home a week and a half from now. And he took his hand off my shoulder and he walked away. And I closed his letter with more circle, highlight, and underline. A passage I had taught and lived in before, but I never had to apply it to me. And I took a deep breath. And I stood up. And I saw my 3 kids. And I ran. And without them seeing me, I jumped. And to the best this old man can still make a cannonball, I grabbed at least one of my ankles, and I went right into all 3 of them. And my little dude, who ain't that little anymore, jumped all over me because he thinks he can take me. And my young adult daughters started splashing. And I started to breathe again. And I had pulled this out over the last 5 years so many times because it gets me. It is not a lesson I learned once. It is a process I know I got to get to quick because I can't allow 2 months of misery going by again to go, who do I think I am? Well, I'm a servant of Jesus Christ who expects a better life than the disciples, and I expect God to bless me far more than he did his son. Amen. I would never actually pray that or say it out loud, but my lifestyle gave that away. Do you remember your calling? You remember why you got into this? There's good reasons to leave a church. There's good reasons to leave ministry, but I would encourage you with this. You don't leave where you are because it's uncomfortable and it's tough and you don't like what's going on with the conflict. You leave when your calling away is equal or greater to the one that called you there. You get that? I tell our staff all the time, you can leave. I'll leave. But God's calling on my heart and my life 22 years ago was so clear that my wife and I had to bring our 2 baby girls, didn't even have a son yet, to North Coast. That I can leave when that spiritual calling is just as equal or greater than. But I don't leave because it's uncomfortable. You don't leave because people are lying. You don't leave because hundreds of people left the church. I would encourage you to do a little bit of Judas math in everything you're doing. I call it the Judas principle. Jesus picked 12, and one guy wanted to kill him just for some coin. I go, that's the type of church Jesus was leading? Take the number of people you lead, whether it's children's ministry, youth ministry, divide it by 12. That's how many people should be trying to kill you, unless you think you're better than Jesus. I'm so serious about this, I did the math for you today. If you have a group of 50 you're leading, 4 people, you should have 4 Judases. If you have a group of 100, 8 people should be out to kill you, not dislike you, kill you. If you have a church of 250, you should have 21 Judases. If you have a church of 500, you should have 41 people trying to sell you out. If you have a church of 750, you should have 62 Judases. If you have 1,000, you should have 83 Judases. Here at North Coast, I got 1,294 Judases. And I started doing the math, and I'm like, I think I only know of about 60. Either there's 1,100 I haven't heard of yet, or kid, you're doing better than you should be doing. And you're paying attention to 60? Well, they left the church. God said, it's my church. He always said North Coast isn't your church. Well, they left your church. He goes, and let me be upset at that. Oh, you have an answer for everything. I got out of the pool that afternoon. My wife's a Jew. She doesn't go in the water. She likes laying in sun. That Middle Eastern tan of hers just loves sun. And I got out of the pool, worn out, about an hour and a half later, and I sat down. And she goes, what just got into you? You scared me when you ran from this chair. I thought something was happening to one of the kids. I said, no, you know that book I was reading? This book I was reading. A dude named Ace came and sat down on page 73. And he kicked my butt a little bit. And she goes, I don't know what you're talking about, but I like him. I said, I'll share more with you later. Babe, I'm sorry. And I'm sorry I scheduled this without asking you. And thanks for coming with me. And she unzipped the bubble that she was in, and she goes, you're welcome. And she zipped it back up. And I don't know if you need to turn to Psalm 73, but I share his story because of what it did to my story. You're going to hear some great messages today, but for me, this is how I'm getting through turbulent times. And I am not expecting it to get easier. I think we're just the tip of the iceberg. Father, may I pray for these kids and the calling on their life. There is absolutely no doubt in my mind there's some in this room that are wondering how much more and why am I doing this? And God, we got the wrong scoreboard. We've got the wrong pronouns. May you use today and tomorrow to allow us just to lock in, to get our heart and our head back. God, we have allowed culture to kill our calling. We have allowed conflict, God, to kill our calling. And God, we forgot about our closeness and our actual calling, the purpose we have in light of eternity. God, may we share today with those that we've come with. God, may we lean into those that are around us. May we stop doing this independently in isolation and alone, pretending like spiritual leaders have got to have it under control. And God, may we lean into even the team we have with some vulnerability and say, this is where I'm at. And God, may together you give us just more of you and who you are and who we are in front of you. And in spite of that, what we have in heaven and earth. And may you give us a purpose back, God, that is brighter and heavier for the world around us and more committed and passionate than ever before. In Jesus' name, amen.